You know something, folks? For the most part, we all live pretty routine lives. But there come certain moments in each of our lives when we are tested. And the choices we make can have huge consequences. In my house, we call those choices step-up moments. The times when life throws you a curveball. You either give up or step up. Kitty Duffy, I think, had more than her share of tough choices. Because let me ask you, what do you think it must have been like way back in 1950 to leave the only home you'd ever known and sail halfway around the world to a country you had never even seen before, with just a suitcase full of hope that you could make a better life for yourself and for your family? Imagine that young teenage Kitty O'Shea standing on the deck of that ship as the captain took it to sea. The safe, familiar coast of Ireland lay behind her. God only knew what would lie ahead. She had to be at least a little scared, but she stepped up. When Kitty got to America, there was nobody there to greet her at the dock. She had to make her own way all the way from New York to Chicago before she saw her first friendly face. But she stepped up. Kitty settled down here to raise her family in a house at 60th and Artesian. Now, I've never set foot in that house. Heck, I've never even seen it. But I have heard this family talk about how that house always had an open door for any friend or family member that needed a place to stay until they could get their bearings. When those folks needed her, Kitty stepped up. I could go on with examples, you know I could, but you get the idea. But I cannot stand here before you now and tell you anything about who Kitty Duffy was if I didn't mention the one single moment that changed her, I think, more than any single other. The moment I'm talking about happened on an early morning Florida beach in 1980. Kitty's son Eddie had gone down to Florida with a few of his friends for spring break, undoubtedly looking to blow off a little adolescent steam, maybe have the opportunity to contemplate the challenges that lay ahead of them in college and beyond. It was just a normal group of teenage boys on the verge of manhood and out to celebrate life. Nobody knows exactly what happened in the water that morning, but Eddie never got to come home with his friends. I've heard it said before that the day they lay your child in the ground is the day you lose your mind. Well, they sent Eddie's body home to her, but part of Kitty's soul died on that beach. Folks, every one of us has good times in our lives, and we all have bad times. But losing a child, those are the times that can bend the strongest man's knees. When I think of step-up moments, I have an enormous amount of admiration for the way Kitty handled herself after Eddie died. I admire the courage she found within herself to go on, even though her heart must surely have been breaking. I respect the way that Kitty always held true to her faith, even though God had given her a glimpse of hell. You see, I have children too, and as a father, I stand in awe of the dignity and grace that Kitty showed to the world while she struggled to find a way to deal with every parent's nightmare. One of the biggest mysteries of life for a lot of us, I think, is that we wonder what heaven is like. I've always believed that heaven will be different for each of us because every one of us has a different idea of what paradise would be like. I've spent the last couple of days wondering what Kitty's heaven will be like. And I gotta believe that paradise for Kitty has got to somehow involve a trip back home, across the sea, to a majestic part of heaven where God allows St. Patrick to reign. Only this time she won't have to worry about nobody being there to greet her at the dock. This time they'll all be there, all the friends and family that have gone before. And as soon as she sets foot onto that heavenly shore, the first one she sees, I believe, will be her husband, Jim. The two of them will kiss, they'll hug, they'll talk, and there will be happy tears. After just a few moments of holding each other again, Jim will whisper something to Kitty, and then he'll step aside. And I'm willing to bet you that there won't be one single dry eye in all of heaven when Kitty turns, and there, standing before her, like in 1,000 of her dreams, will be Eddie. I don't know what Eddie will be wearing. A suit and tie, perhaps. The University of Iowa football uniform that Kitty never got to see him wear. Or maybe just swimming trunks, still soaking wet. One thing I'm pretty sure of, though, and that is the very first thing that Eddie will say to Kitty is, "Mom, it wasn't your fault." Trust me when I tell you, folks, that Kitty has spent far too many years blaming herself for Eddie's death, playing what-if games in her mind. What if she hadn't let Eddie go to Florida? What if she and Jim had gone with him? What if they'd have made him go somewhere closer? What if he'd have gone just one day later? We all know that Eddie's death wasn't Kitty's fault, but hearing those simple words from Eddie today will finally enable Kitty to forgive herself. Today, Kitty will finally walk out of the prison she's been in ever since that horrible day. People, we're all here today because we're thankful that fate allowed Kitty Duffy's path to cross ours. We'll all miss her in our own way. As for myself, I can assure you that tonight, when I hit my knees, I will thank God again for Kitty Duffy, and I'll ask him to treat her gently. I hope that you all will do the same. And if you take anything away from here today with you, I hope it's a feeling of gratitude. I hope you'll always remember that you were one of the lucky ones who got to sit here in this church today to feel the wonder when just for one short moment in time, heaven and earth came together upon this very spot, and Kitty Duffy took her final step up. Godspeed, Kitty. I pray that God will grant you a safe trip back home today, and may your soul finally and forever be at peace now.